Hello and welcome to this edition of the Grow With Moin Podcast. I am your host, Moin Zafar, and this is my first ever live recording for YouTube. I've done about 26 other episodes. They're available on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on Google Play, wherever you listen to podcasts is there. I talk about a ton of cool stuff. I have a ton of cool guests, anything from cold showers, lucid dreaming, people who quit their jobs to follow a passion, and a few years later come back to share insights and lessons that they learned from their own past experiences. That sort of encompasses what my podcast is all about. It's about personal growth, self-development, and overcoming adversity through resilience, growing in the face of fear. That is what the Grow With Moin podcast is all about. So this episode, I've decided it's going to be sort of a reintroduction of who I am for YouTube. And so I am the author of a best-selling book called Grow With Your Baby. On launch day, it reached the #1 spot in happiness on Amazon. This is what the book is. Grow With Your Baby, 7 lessons on how to embrace change and overcome your fears. So I went through an experience in my life, and the book is basically the summation, the lessons, the wisdoms, the insights, the challenges. All of that is compiled into this book, and I'll get into what the experience is. So I was born in China, raised in Pakistan, and I came here to Canada at age 18 for my undergraduate studies, obviously with the hopes and dreams of my parents. And so while I was in university, I didn't really thought through what I wanted to study. I just sort of followed what everybody was doing. I didn't really have a plan laid out for myself. So in the beginning, I was all over the place. I was undecided for 1 year. I chose political science as a major for 1 year, which I liked, but which wasn't well received with my family, was paying for my education. So I changed it to human resource management again and kept that for a couple of years, and soon realizing that I'm not interested in that at all. And then finally, eventually changing my major to humanities, which I connected really well with. I was really interested in the subject, and naturally my grades went higher, better than they were ever before. So, it was a process of figuring out what I actually wanted, what I'm interested in, and, putting energy and making decisions towards that interest, which eventually resulted in a better grades, better life, better health, and all that stuff. So while I was in university, this was about my 3rd or 4th year. I came to Canada in 2010. And so I was sort of heading into a depression. I was depressed. I was thinking about different aspects of life, about meaning, about how I can, make my life more fulfilling, make it more exciting, because it all seemed so numb and dead to me, and I didn't really know where I was going and what I was going to do in the coming years. And, questions like, is life really a mechanical process of growing up, going to school, going to university, getting a paper degree, getting a job, and, that's it, getting a family, that's it, It all just seemed really mechanical to me. And I still remember to this day, I was in the cafeteria at York University where I went to study. It was almost like time stood still in that moment. So it was about the time when all the classes ended at the same time and a new lecture started. So, and I saw this herd of students, rushing out of class and rushing towards another class. And then I started thinking about everybody on the road, rushing to work, coming back from work, rushing. And I asked myself, is that all there is? Is that what I'm aspiring to? Is that what's going to become of me too? Like, is that all? Really? And, while I was in the midst of that, I was also not doing particularly well in my studies, and I was lacking. I was just not motivated. I was not inspired to do anything. And I had to tell my parents. I still hadn't told my parents. I took a year off to work on what my interests were and what I actually wanted to do. And it was tough because they're paying for everything. So there was a lot of pressure there, and if you're someone who really cares about where your parents' money and their attention and their love is going, then yeah, it was a lot. And then in the midst of all of that, I found out that I was going to be a father. Yep, it felt like, I was dealt an unfair card with life. My girlfriend at the time, Luara, she was pregnant. She told me I was pregnant. And at that time, I was helping my friend move. And I still remember that because it was such a deep, dent emotionally that, you couldn't believe that is actually happening to you at such a young age while you're still trying to figure out whatever it is that you want to do. And I know a lot of people go through that. And that's part of the reason why, I documented my experience and wrote a book about it. So yeah, I got the phone call and I was helping my friend move, and I remember, hearing the news and just putting the phone back in my pocket and continuing on helping my friend move without even mentioning to him what had just transpired. I was in shock, truly, truly shocked. And, over the course of the next 2 or 3 months, I was really frozen. I was frozen. I didn't know where to go, who to ask for help. And just the fact that I had to tell my parents this on top of, whatever was going on with my undergraduate degrees and what I was thinking, it just became a lot. And I froze for a good 3 months. I didn't say anything to anyone, of course. My girlfriend at the time, her family knew and they were supportive, but nobody on my side truly knew what was going on except myself. And while it is fair to, process and take time with when something big like this comes along, it is also a trap if you stay in there too long, because even if it's a very small thing or even if it's a big thing, it will become bigger and heavier the longer you hold on to it and don't take action. And that's what I felt in my experience. I was, I can't even describe in words what I was going through at that time. It was just, I don't know. I thought somehow, I wouldn't have to say anything to anyone and, get on with my life. And part of it was also that I hadn't truly decided if I wanted to be a father, and not decided, but accepted that this is happening and taking action. Because once I knew that this is it, this is happening, then I have that root. Okay, this is it. And then everything else on top, university, parents, whatever it is, that goes on top of it. But I hadn't decided, and slowly but surely my friends started finding out by themselves. And there was a moment in time where, I used to be hanging out with them, and they would know what was going on, and I knew that they knew what was going on, but no one else said anything. And eventually, a good friend of mine reached out to me and we had a conversation about it, and I started to feel better. I really started to feel better once I started talking about it, and the burden got less and less. And then it was all about, facing my parents and letting them know. And for those of you who do not know, Pakistan is a conservative Muslim country. So any relationships, strictly speaking, outside of marriage are forbidden. And so this was going to be a big deal for my parents. It was like I was going to, flip their world upside down. And so through the help and support of some good friends, I finally had the courage to talk to my parents and tell them what had transpired, not just about the pregnancy and my decision to be a father to this child, but also what was going on with my undergraduate degree. And it was a lot for them, it was a process, it wasn't easy, but I knew I was ready for the challenge because I had support of good friends, and because I have also decided within myself first that this is what I am going to do. I'm ready for it. And so worst case scenario, my parents don't give me my blessing, they disown me, whatever. But I know that this is my decision, and I'm not going to let anybody else make it for me. So it started from that place of power within me. And then whatever they had to say, I knew that it was not going to influence my decision. And so, they took their time processing this, a couple of months of back and forth of, going through this with my parents. And eventually, everything turned out okay. Everything was fine. There were some uncomfortable experiences and conversations, but eventually it was okay. And then at that point, I decided to change my major to humanities. And so, in the coming year, I was going to graduate. I was expecting my daughter right on the date of my last exam. And, I also started a part-time job at a bank. And so all of this required for me to be a newer, better version of myself so that I can, accommodate all these new challenges that were coming into my life and not just deal with them, but thrive on them. And so it seemed like at this point, a new chapter had finally opened in my life, and I was finally moving forward with things. And so that's it for now, guys. I'm going to end it here. I usually keep my solo episodes between 10 to 15 minutes. So I'll do this in 2 or 3 parts, however long it takes to tell you the full story. If you like what you heard, please feel free to reach out to me on my Instagram at the Grow With Moin Podcast, or my personal Instagram account at MOINZR. Give me your feedback. Let me know what it is that you liked, what it is that you don't like. I will be posting some of my past episodes that I did video recordings on. I didn't video record all of my episodes. I think I have about 26 now. And so whatever video assets I have, I will be uploading them on YouTube. And for any future interviews that I do with guests, they will be recorded and uploaded on YouTube. Thank you everyone for tuning in. If you like what you heard, give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and I see you all on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's when I release my episodes. Take care.